Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase we're going to be looking at the Decepticon Brawl. What we'll do with this video, we'll have a quick look at him in both of his modes, and that'll help you decide how you want to display him. I'll show you the accessories that come with him, and there's also a couple of different variants of him that have been released over the years, so I'll show you how to detect the differences between them. We'll quickly have a look at him combined as well, and as I'm lucky enough to have a couple of different types of packaging, we can have a look at the artwork and the battle scenes on the back of that. Let's get started then. So, as I say, he is a Decepticon. His name is Brawl, and he's a very popular character, and he has so many toys of him released, mainly due to the Michael Bay movies. I'm not going to be showing you any of these in this video. This is just solely the Generation 1 version of that figure. So yeah, so he's a well-known character because of that as well. So for people who weren't old enough to remember Generation 1, because of the Bayverse films, he's very well known. Let's have a look at the figure itself then. So the robot, as unfortunately with quite a few of the Generation 1 figures, but especially these combiner limbs, they did suffer from quite a bit of a lack of articulation, let's be honest. We've just got a bit of movement here in, I suppose, is what is the shoulders. And the legs, they don't really do anything either. They just fold back for when you want to do a transformation. I suppose it can hold a little pose like that if you wanted it to, but that's about it. And the main reason for that is because the gimmick with these, which was brilliant again for the time, 1986, this little dude obviously can combine with 4 other Combaticons and can form this amazing combiner bruticus, and that's the main gimmick that they were running at the time. They were also known as Scramble City limbs or Scramble City bots, and that basically means that he could be either leg or arm as well, just depends where you want to connect him. So of course you could scramble them all up, and you can also see on the Japanese boxes, maybe not there but definitely up here, I'll bring this one closer, it says Scramble City there as well, and that's because in Japan we had obviously the Sunbow cartoons in the UK, but in Japan they had their own cartoons, and Scramble City was the name of the cartoon that was being aired at the time. So there is the robot mode. It is good. I do like the look of it. It is very blocky and it is very basic, but I do still like it, and I remember having him when I was a kid. There's his blaster. The only thing to really be aware of is this tab here. If it's snapped off, you won't be able to put it in his hands, and sometimes they do get snapped off in people's hands. So let's move on to the alternate mode, and I've got a few things to talk about the alternate mode. The first is obviously it is a tank, and it is a very famous one. It's like I think it's the Leopard 1A3 main battle tank, and it just looks really good. I know it's just a tank and it doesn't really do anything. I know the treads don't even move. I know that the only fact that the turret moves, and that's about it. But I do really like it. You know, it is exactly what it is. It's a tank. Some of the alternate modes can get a little bit ropey, but this is exactly that. While we're looking at the alternate mode, this is the weapons and the accessories that come with him. So of course you're going to need the 2 tabs there on the bottom to make sure that you can fit it into the back of this. Now before we do something with that, I mentioned there was a couple of variants. So these are the original, well this is actually a 1987 variant, and the reason why I know that is, and the way I can tell, I'm just going to open this one for 2 seconds. When they first were released in 1986, some of the figures had die-cast metal parts. Lots of them had die-cast part chests. Now with Brawl, it was his rear treads, and you might be able to make out it's just a slightly lighter colour of grey than the rest of it. The obvious other way to know is the weight. The weight of this tank is much heavier, whereas this is much lighter. So if I can just show you, you can't really see it. There you can. The die-cast is just that little bit lighter in colour, obviously not in weight. So that's one of the variants that was known, and it must have been obviously like a cost-cutting exercise, same as obviously the aerial bot's chest and the protector bots and things like that. Now the other known variant, and again these are all Generation 1 releases, is the fact that it's got a indentation there for a rub sign. So as I say, it either came out in 86 or 87. 86 had the metal parts, 87 had these parts, and then for those of you not familiar with these gold cards behind, these are European and Australasian exclusives. They did come out in 1991, so they're still classed as Generation 1 figures, but you'll notice there straight away there is no indentation, and in fact there is no rub sign. So that's how you can detect the differences between the figures. They are still classed as Generation 1, so you know, if you do buy one of these figures and it hasn't got the indentation for the rub sign, you've not been duped. It's not a knockoff. It is still Generation 1. It's just a later release of it. So there he is. So that's the tank. Hopefully I've helped you out with a few things there. Let's have a look at him combined then. And there he is. And the ironic thing as well is is that in all the magazines and even in the guidebooks it says he should be his left leg, which is the way I've got him there. But funnily enough, if you look at the actual packaging for him, he's his right leg. So let's have a look at him. He fits there lovely. And again, this, I think everybody loves Bruticus. I think he's probably got to be the most reissued combiner, hasn't he? I mean, obviously he's got Fall of Cybertron, Combiner Wars, and the amount of third-party Bruticus is, I think, is more than anybody else. Let's have a quick look at the packaging then. So this is an individually boxed Japanese one. So I've already mentioned what Scramble City is. Of course, the writer's in Japanese. For those of you who are unaware, the D stood for Destron, which means Decepticon, and this was number 67. Now, again, I do really like these boxes. I think they just look fantastic. And then if we spin it round, you've got this lovely, lovely little artwork battle scene on the back. This is one of my favourite battle scenes. I don't remember seeing this on anything from Hasbro. It is, of course, the two Titans, Trypticon and Metroplex, but instead of them being in base mode, they're transformed and they're attacking. So I'm pretty sure if we spin this big box set around that it's exactly the same. So this was the, again, Japanese gift set. It's known as D69 because they've all got their individual numbers. So Brawl is still D67. But if we spin it round, yes, we have that phenomenal, and again, one of my favourite battle scenes. Just really like it. Obviously Magnus there coming in at the bottom, Trypticon transforming. Yeah, one of my favourite battle scenes there. And of course, because it's a gift set, you've got 6 tech specs, because one is, of course, for Bruticus. Moving over finally then, there's 2 gold cards. I've already mentioned that they came out in 1991, and the big difference is just the language. So this one here says Classic Combaticon there. I have no idea what that price is. It might have been Pesetas, 1,790, because they were out in Spain. I've already pointed out about the no rub sign. But yeah, these were carded in the lovely gold cards. I've got no Hasbro versions. How ironic is that? Well, this is Hasbro, I know, but not the original Hasbros. And then all we've got on the back of here is just, it's obviously telling you which other figures you need, and you've got pictures of the very basic transformation. So for those of you who can't see, now you'll be able to see in a bit more detail. Here is the other gold card, and now we've got Spanish language. So we've got there Los Cinco Combaticons, obviously 5 Combaticons, and the languages in Spanish. Exactly the same, no difference, just, as I say, carded in obviously a different country. Oh, jinx, I'm going to keep that in because I'm so far in. You know what? These things happen on these videos, but I'm going to keep that off. What we're going to do then is let's come back in summary. So there we go. I'm going to laugh about it because you got to, haven't you? His name is Brawl. He is a Decepticon combiner limb. He was released originally in 1986, then again in 87, and again subsequently in 1991. I'm pretty sure he's been re-released after that as well. Obviously we've got quite a few fakes of him around, knockoffs of the Multi-Force gift set, which is the gig version, so be aware of that, unless of course you're actually purchasing that and you're fine with it. But otherwise, I don't think I need to make you aware of anything else. So for those of you like myself who was lucky enough to have one of these guys when they were younger, I hope it brought back some nice memories. For those of you who are only, funnily enough, aware of the Michael Bay movies and didn't realise that he had an original Generation 1 figure, I hope this was interesting for you, and the same for everybody else. You know, I hope this was interesting for you. It helped you decide if you wanted to get one, which one you wanted to get, etc. Thank you to everybody who subscribed already. For those of you who haven't, if you'd like to hit that subscribe and like button for me now, again, it's helping this channel out amazingly. And of course, especially in these current times, everybody, please take care.